She told me, "I'm not in love with you anymore." So I shut off my feelings, treated her like a roommate, and in the end she was the one begging me not to walk away. It was a quiet Tuesday evening, nothing out of the ordinary, just one of those regular days that slipped by without making much noise. I had cooked a simple dinner, something quick and easy, because neither of us felt like doing much after work. Jenna sat across from me at the kitchen table, pushing the food around on her plate without really eating it. At first, I thought maybe she just wasn't hungry, or that she had something on her mind related to work. I didn't expect anything out of the ordinary. When I stood up to clear the dishes and rinse them under the warm water, I noticed how still she was sitting. Her arms were folded, and her eyes were fixed on me in a way that made the room feel heavy. At first, I thought she was about to bring up something small and practical. Maybe the electricity bill, groceries, or a family visit we had been postponing. But instead, she leaned forward slightly, took a deep breath, and spoke in the calmest voice I had ever heard from her. "I care about you, Alex," she said slowly, as if she had practiced the words over and over. "But I'm not in love with you anymore." For a moment, I froze with a wet plate in my hand. My mind struggled to process what I had just heard. Jenna and I had been together for 3 years, living under the same roof for nearly 2. Our daily routines were intertwined, our jokes built from years of shared experiences, our habits slowly blended into a life together. And yet, she sat there, calmly telling me that the love I thought we shared was no longer there for her. I waited for her to soften her words, to backtrack, to offer some kind of explanation that would make it less painful. But she didn't. She kept looking at me, her gaze steady, almost too steady, as if she had rehearsed that exact line again and again, waiting for the right moment to say it. I slowly put the plate down, dried my hands on a towel, and sat across from her. My chest felt heavy, but I didn't raise my voice. She didn't frame it as a breakup. She didn't say she wanted to leave or move out. Instead, she went on to say that she still valued what we had, that she wanted us to stay together, but without the pressure of expectations. She called it honesty, as if speaking those words out loud made her brave. But the only words echoing in my head were "not in love." What did that even mean? To me, it sounded like she wanted the comfort of having me there without the emotional work of truly loving me. She wanted my presence, but not my heart. When she finished talking, I nodded once and said quietly, "Thank you for being clear." That was it. No arguments, no begging, no asking her to reconsider. I got up, finished washing the dishes, and then went to bed. That night, I lay awake, staring at the ceiling, replaying her calm, almost casual tone in my head over and over. Part of me wanted to ask her 100 questions. Was there someone else? How long had she felt this way? Why now? But another part of me just switched off. And in that silence, I made a decision. If she wanted honesty, then I would give her honesty too. And the honest truth was simple. I wasn't going to keep pouring my energy into someone who openly told me they didn't love me. Something in me changed that night. The Alex who used to leave flowers on the counter for her, who wrote small notes to brighten her day, who planned trips and surprises to make her smile, that Alex went to bed and didn't wake up the next morning. The next day, I treated Jenna exactly as she said she wanted, like someone she liked, but nothing more. I made coffee only for myself. I didn't reach for her favorite mug. I didn't add the almond milk she loved. I just made my cup, black, and sat at the table. She walked into the kitchen, her hair still messy from sleep, and paused briefly when she noticed no cup waiting for her. For a moment, I thought she might say something, but she didn't. She just grabbed her keys and left. In the days that followed, the shift became obvious. I stopped texting her during the day. No, do you need anything from the store? No, how's work going? My phone stayed silent. In the evenings, I cooked for myself, ate when I was hungry, and didn't wait for her to join me at the table. At first, Jenna seemed relieved. She even bragged to her friends during a phone call, saying loud enough for me to hear that she had spoken her truth, and that I was mature enough to handle it. Her friends applauded her bravery, using words like honest and strong. She laughed along with them while I sat in the other room reading in silence. But I wasn't adjusting. I was redefining. I was living exactly as she had defined our relationship. Not as partners, not as lovers, just as two people sharing the same space. I stopped picking up her favorite snacks at the grocery store. I stopped pausing my shows to wait for her. If she left laundry in the dryer, I pulled mine out and left hers there. Small things, subtle things, but enough to show that I was no longer carrying the extra weight of a love she had dismissed. The difference between love and liking someone shows up in the details. And slowly, I stripped away every detail that had once made our relationship warm and personal. After that conversation, something inside me just snapped. I didn't yell, I didn't argue, and I didn't even beg her to change her mind. Instead, I decided to pull back completely. If she said she wasn't in love with me, then I wasn't going to keep acting like a boyfriend who gave his all while getting nothing in return. I started treating her like a roommate instead of a partner. That meant no more late-night conversations about our dreams, no more holding her hand on the couch, and definitely no more surprises that I used to plan just to see her smile. I paid my half of the bills, cleaned up my own mess, and kept my distance. I could tell she noticed the shift immediately, but she didn't say anything at first. Maybe she thought I was just hurt and needed space. What she didn't realize was that I had finally reached a point where I was done being the only one fighting for us. Days turned into weeks, and slowly the silence between us grew louder than any argument we could have had. She would come home and try to make small talk, asking about my day or what I ate for dinner, but I would just answer with short words and go back to whatever I was doing. When she tried to sit next to me on the couch, I would get up and pretend to be busy with something else. At first, she pretended not to care, acting like she was enjoying the freedom of living without pressure. But over time, I could see the cracks forming. She started hanging around me more, trying to start conversations that she once ignored. She would ask why I didn't plan date nights anymore or why I didn't leave little notes like I used to. I simply told her, "Because you said you weren't in love with me. I'm just respecting that." The look on her face each time I said that was priceless. She had expected me to chase after her, to keep proving my love even when she made it clear she didn't feel the same way. But when I didn't play that game, she seemed confused and almost scared. The truth was, she wanted the comfort of my efforts without giving me the same in return. But I was done playing the fool. I focused on myself instead. I spent more time at the gym, reconnected with old friends, and even started picking up hobbies I had neglected because I used to spend every spare minute on her. The more I pulled away, the more she tried to pull me back in. It was almost like she realized too late what she was losing. One night, she finally broke down. She sat across from me at the kitchen table and said, "Why don't you look at me the same way anymore? Why don't you try to hold me or kiss me?" I looked at her calmly and said, "Because you told me you're not in love with me. I'm just treating you the way you said you feel." She went quiet, and for the first time, she didn't have a clever response or an excuse. I could see the tears forming in her eyes, but I didn't feel the urge to comfort her like before. It was strange. For years I thought I couldn't live without her. But sitting there watching her cry, I realized I had finally found peace in letting go. The next few days after that conversation felt different. She started cooking dinner again, something she had stopped doing months ago. She began asking if I wanted to watch movies together, if I needed anything from the store, even if I wanted her to drive me somewhere. All the things I used to do for her without a second thought, she suddenly tried to do for me. But by then, my heart was already tired. I appreciated the effort, but it felt like too little, too late. I had given her every chance to love me back when it mattered, and she only started caring when she realized I was no longer available to be taken for granted. One evening, she came into my room with tears in her eyes. She sat on the edge of the bed and said softly, "Please don't leave me. I know I said I wasn't in love with you, but I don't want to lose you. You're the best thing that's ever happened to me, and I don't know what I was thinking." She reached out to hold my hand, her voice shaking as she begged me to stay. For a moment, I just looked at her. This woman I had once loved so deeply, the one I would have done anything for. But in that moment, I realized the love I had for her had already burned out. The fire that once kept us warm was gone, and all that was left was ashes. I pulled my hand away gently and said, "You only want me now because you're afraid of being without me. But when I needed you to love me, you turned your back on me. I can't go back to that." Her tears fell harder, and she tried to argue, tried to promise she would change, but I had finally found my strength. I stood up, took my bag that I had already packed, and walked toward the door. She called my name over and over, her voice breaking, but I didn't stop. For the first time in a long time, I felt free. As I stepped outside, the cool air hit my face, and it felt like a fresh start. I didn't know exactly what the future held for me, but I knew one thing for sure. I would never again stay somewhere I wasn't truly loved. And in that moment, with my heart finally at peace, I walked away from a life that was never meant for me, and towards a future where I could finally be happy.